First of all, I want you to know it's not your fault, but it is your energy. And what I mean by that is, you know that pattern that keeps showing up in your relationships? Where it may be a different person, but it's the same dynamic, same arguments, and the same moment where you think, why does this keep happening to me? Well, that pattern isn't random, and it's not about the other people. It's about the energy you're carrying. Your beliefs, your emotional patterns, the identity you've accepted as true without even realizing it. I'm not saying that people who have mistreated you or taken advantage of you are not responsible for their own behavior. They absolutely are. What I am saying is that it's your energy that's been bringing certain people and situations into your life. And that's actually good news because it means you can finally do something about it. I'm Alison Cairns, the founder of Pure Energy Life, and I want to share something with you today that's completely shifted the way I understood my own patterns, and that I've now seen shift in the patterns of the women I work with. I'm going to show you exactly why the pattern keeps coming back, why everything you've tried hasn't been enough, and what actually breaks the cycle at the root. And this is important because once you understand this, it changes everything. So let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest with yourself when you hear this. You're capable, you're self-aware, you're the kind of person who works on themselves. You reflect, you try to do better, and you don't just sit back and let life happen. But somehow, you keep ending up in the same place. Maybe it's a relationship where you give everything, but you feel like the other person is taking you for granted. Maybe you're the one who always shows up, and other people just keep taking and wanting more. And you can't figure out why, because as far as you're concerned, you're just being a good person and doing everything right. Or maybe it's just that quiet feeling inside of you that something is still off, and that no matter what you do, nothing really shifts. And the most exhausting part of it isn't even the situation itself. It's the fact that you've tried to change it. You've reflected on it. You've worked on yourself. Maybe you've done therapy or journaling, or you've set better boundaries, or even chosen different people. And for a while, it feels like it's shifting, but then it comes back. And that's the part that really gets to you. It's not the pattern itself, but the fact that it keeps coming back no matter what you do. And I want to say to you, this isn't about fault. It's not about blame. You're not unlucky, and this isn't who you are. It's because everything you've tried has been working at the wrong level. They've been addressing the behavior, the thought, the story, but none of them acknowledge what's actually generating the pattern underneath. And the reason why it keeps coming back is because the root of the pattern is still there. And I know this because I lived it. I was that person, and I spent a long time trying to fix things at the surface before I finally realized what was actually going on. So I want you to imagine, and I really want you to think about this for a second, starting your day from a place of stillness instead of tension. Imagine finally being in a relationship and feeling chosen, valued, and genuinely at peace, not waiting for it to go wrong or wondering when things will change. Imagine something triggers you, because life will still happen. That doesn't disappear. But instead of it ruining your entire day, you actually know what it is, where it's coming from, and you have real tools that work in that actual moment. That's what becomes possible when you go to the root, when the energetic pattern underneath is actually released. So let me tell you a bit about my own journey, because I think it's important that you understand where I'm coming from. I didn't used to have great relationships, which is probably an understatement. And for a long time, I couldn't figure out why. Because I was giving everything, my time, my energy, my loyalty, and I kept ending up feeling taken for granted and unappreciated. I was so confused because I didn't understand why no one was giving back. And so I did what a lot of people do. I started blaming the other people. I thought, I'm just unlucky with who I'm choosing. Then I started to blame myself, and it even got to a point where I thought that I was a magnet for attracting these types of people. But eventually, I got to a point, and I think a lot of you know this feeling, where I was just done. I was completely done with the same story repeating, and I decided to try something I'd never tried before. Not because I was sure it would work, but because everything I was doing wasn't working. And so I enrolled in a program that introduced me to the concept of energy. Now, my background is in finance, so as you can imagine, I'm a very logical thinker and I have an extremely analytical mind. The concept of energy was completely foreign to me, but just that act of doing something so completely different from anything I'd done before started to shift something within me. And the results were undeniable. Once I learned about how energy can affect every single area of your life, not only did my relationships change, my health improved, my confidence, the way I showed up in every area of my life. And I realized something I couldn't unfeel. Most people are suffering like you because no one ever taught you how energy works. You're not taught this in schools or by your parents. But these invisible forces, your thoughts, your emotions, your unprocessed experiences, are shaping your reality more than anything you can see or touch. And you know what the difference was? For the first time, I actually went to the root. And once I did that, everything else followed. So here's the thing. Everything you've tried, therapy, journaling, mindset work, setting boundaries, none of that is wrong. All of it has value. But all of it works at the level of the symptom. The behavior, the thought, the story you tell yourself about why this keeps happening. Think of it like a weed. If you have a weed in your garden and you keep cutting it back, it looks better for a while. You can't see it anymore, but the root is still there and it will grow back. And that's what's been happening. You've been trimming the weed or working on the symptoms. That's why the pattern comes back. And here's the thing about patterns. They're not your personality. They're not fixed and they're not who you are. They can be traced back, understood, and released. And once the root is actually gone, the pattern stops coming back. And that's the difference. So what I've built to do exactly that is a program called the Energy Mastery Method. It's a 7-week private one-to-one journey called Evolve. And it's something I worked on since the very beginning of my own journey. It's built around what I believe are the fundamental principles you need to understand about energy. The building blocks that allow you to first recognize what you're holding, then process it, and then finally release it. Because that's how energy works. When your internal baseline changes, your external world starts to reorganize around it. You'll feel clear, grounded, and capable of choosing from alignment, not from patterns you never chose in the first place. And what I see consistently with the women I work with is that shift doesn't just stay in one area. Some came to me for relationships and their health improved. Others found their confidence in work completely changed. Because energy doesn't compartmentalize. When you release the energetic patterns at the root, everything else in your life begins to shift. I want to leave you with something because this is the thing that changed everything for me. If you don't take ownership of your energy, your external circumstances will always have control over your life. By understanding that you can actually influence and improve your own energy, that's the first step to living an empowered life. And that step starts with a decision, just like mine did. It's time to stop living on repeat and start living the life you deserve.